Otter is, in fact, better. Stars win. Game 3, round 2. Final score 5-2. Miko Rantanen, 3-point night. Otter outduels Helly again. Unexpected hero Petrovic scoring without the stick. Just an awesome game. Ryan was on scene. Ryan, what'd you see down there?
The boys felt very good about this win, and there were a lot of just weird things to talk about in this game, and I'm sure we'll get to all of them. But here's the biggest thing for me, though, Chris, and for me it continues to be one of the biggest storylines. Obviously, the biggest storyline is Miko Rantanen, and he continues to continues to make Colorado's postseason even worse, even though Colorado's not even playing anymore. But it's all about Jake Oettinger for me right now, Chris. I mean, the Stars bent severely in the middle of that second period, and I kept going back and forth between, okay, what do they need to do? What do they need to do? But at the end of the day, it really didn't matter. And yes, they gave up the goal in the second period, and they were in the negative in goal differential in that second period. But it could have been way worse if it wasn't for Jake Oettinger again. And again, I know I can constantly say his praises and everything like that, but for me, he continues to be the best goalie in the playoffs, arguably. Definitely in the Western Conference for sure. At least that's what goals saved above expected says. The only goalie that's better in that category than Jake Oettinger is Frederik Andersen, and he plays for the Carolina Hurricanes. So we wouldn't even see them until the Stanley Cup final, assuming both of those teams got there. So he has elevated his game up to a level that was even unattainable for him last year, in my personal opinion. This is the best and the most consistent we have seen Jake Oettinger play. And it's fantastic that it's happening this time of the year, and it's happening at the most important position that there could be.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing it right in the face of the for sure Vezina winner this year and the potential Hart winner. So it is a massive point that Otter is able to stand up and beat Hellebuck in these games. For me, the big point was the Stars' third period. I mean, yeah, Otter held him in there for the second, but the Stars rolled over the Jets in that third period. It was domination by the Dallas Stars. And I know a lot of Jets fans are going to complain about a potential kick. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But even if that goal is off the board, do you see the Jets winning that period? Absolutely not. The Stars were all over them.
Well, and that's a good point, Chris. And again, we've said this numerous times where the Stars have been able to get over things that have been in their way mentally, if that makes any sense, right?
Yep.
So if there's a bad call or there's an unlucky bounce or, whatever, they either brush it off and when they lose the game and they're like, it's okay, we'll get the next one. Or they completely turn around and they make the best of it. And they did that. You could argue from the Winnipeg side that we'll talk about it in a second, that goal wasn't a goal. But the other side of it is you still could have come back and responded in a more positive way. And the Winnipeg Jets didn't. And that shows some, the mental side of the game for the Jets. They just could not get over the fact that was a goal. Or maybe the Stars took advantage of that mentally and they were able to find an extra step in that. Either way, it shows the mental fortitude of this team and that they're playing mind games right now as much as they are physical games with this Winnipeg Jets team. And the Jets could have had something to say about that, and they didn't. And even after the fourth goal, Scott Arniel, the head coach of the Jets, called a timeout trying to calm the guys down. Didn't do any good.
Yep, Stars were still rolling. I wouldn't even say it was mental. Stars were just flat out better that period. They just took it to them from start to finish in that third. So let's talk about some of the top players for the Stars in this game, though. I mean, once again, Miko Rantanen is just the best hockey player in the world right now. 3-point night, scores that fourth goal on just a beautiful shot. His wrister is disgusting. If he's going east-west across the slot, it's in, is what it feels like. So he is just unbelievable. He does it again.
It was kind of funny, to be honest with you, Chris, because people were keeping a running count of how many goals he's been involved in a row. I think it was at like 13 or something.
13
And then
broken.
I forget which goal it was. It might have been Petro's goal, actually, that broke the streak at 13. And then the very next 2 goals, he just creates another point streak for himself. And now that point streak is at 2 again. So
it was actually Harley's goal in the first period that broke the streak, but Rantanen was still on the ice, so he still got a plus there. So he's still kind of involved if you want to count that, which I wouldn't. But yeah, I mean, he's just absolutely dominating. He's carrying the Stars offense still. I know the announcer talked about, like, you saw some depth scoring. Yeah, kind of. You saw scoring from the defense, and then Wyatt Johnston scores at the end of the game. But really, for me, it's still Miko just taking over. So
and
it's incredible.
Well, and again, Chris, this is a guy that is really making Colorado regret trading him away.
Oh yeah.
And as much as I cannot believe that he is a Dallas Star, if you had told me that 6 months ago, I would have never believed you. Like, without him, the Stars are not in the second round. Without him, the Stars are not up 2-1 in the series against the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, and he accounts for what, 70-80% of the offense right now. I mean, some ridiculous, stat number that we would only see in like EA Sports Be a Pro mode or something like that. I mean, it is unrealistic, and completely Broadway script what he is doing right now for this team. Now, I do want to raise a red flag for a split second on this, in the fact that if they shut him down, which Winnipeg did in game 2, that's where it really starts to worry me, because we're not seeing other guys as much kind of pitch in offensively. And we saw a lot of guys get better chances and have better shifts tonight. Like, I thought the Duchesne line, for example, was much way better tonight. Jamie Benn was way better again here tonight.
I just don't think that it was them shutting Rantanen down is what happened game 2. The Stars just didn't show up. I mean, they did their job, they thought, in game 1, and they were happy with that, and they decided that game 2 wasn't as important to them. I mean, it was just a different team that was out there for Dallas in game 2, but from both game 1 and this game here today. So I don't think that game 2 was won because they shut Miko Rantanen down. I think he can't be stopped.
I'll agree with you a little bit, except for the fact that you said that the Stars didn't think that game 2 was important. I don't think that's true.
Well, they did.
I think they just didn't show up.
Right.
I agree with you on that. Yes, I agree with you on that, though.
Yeah. The other guy who was just absolutely fantastic and has been all playoffs, Thomas Harley, a goal, an assist, finishes with 24-38 time on ice.
That's low for
monster.
him.
And in a game where Morrissey really showed up for the Jets and played outstanding, Harley was better.
And side note, Kyle Connor was also fantastic tonight. Oh my gosh, he was ridiculous. But yes, Thomas Harley, he continues to be the Stars' best defenseman, and it's not even close, at least on the offensive side of the puck. And
holistic game.
Yeah, he just continues to build his legendary status as a premier defenseman in the NHL, and as a potential Norris winner, the way that he's playing right now. He's not just doing the defensive things right. Yeah, he'll have some defensive miscues every once in a while, but there's a reason why he was picked to go to the Four Nations tournament and not Evan Bouchard. I mean, it's very clear, and you're seeing it right now in the playoffs. And again, the Stars are doing all of this without their number one, well, arguably. I guess now you still have to ask that question.
Yeah.
Arguably, their number one defenseman. So and he has just kind of stepped into that role, and it's been seamless. It completely seamless since the Four Nations tournament.
Yeah, and when Miro comes back, we might be thinking, hey, maybe that Miro injury was a good thing, just so we could unlock 100% of Thomas Harley's skill. So that's fantastic. We need to get to Liam Bichsel and Petrovic because they had just an outstanding game. I mean, they stepped up when the playoffs started, and it felt like they took another step here tonight. Before that, let's talk about the kick, or the no kick, or whatever we're going to call it. because it was an insanely long review. I mean, I have never seen a review that long. And then once they announced it, it was the most weird announcing ever. They said that it was a kick and that it was knocked in, and that it was an own goal from Hellebuck. I mean, that just seems like a confusing answer.
Okay, so let me shine some light on this because I was also confused by this as well. And I'll be completely honest. Where I was sitting at the game here tonight, I was actually technically in section 307. They had some extra seating built for the press in that section, and I was at the top of 307. And as soon as that goal happened, I didn't think it was a goal. I truly didn't, because I saw Petrovic hit it with his skate, and at least from where I was, I thought he kicked it in. And even further, I was talking to a fan to my left and then a media member to my right, and I was just going back and forth between the two conversations, trying to figure it out. I mean, we had enough time, right? It was like 7 minutes or something ridiculous like that. And the longer that it went, for when it was about the 3 or 4 minute mark, that's when I got worried, and I was just like, okay, they're going to call this no goal, because the longer it takes, normally that means it's no goal, right? But then it took even longer than too long, and which made me think that they're just going to let the thing stand. And they didn't only not let it stand, but they confirmed it. And here's the differentiation in the rule, apparently. If you kick it and it goes off of the goaltender and the goalie makes a play on the puck and it goes in the net, that is considered a good goal. What it can't do is directly from a kick deflect off a couple of guys and like the goalie doesn't make a play on the puck, then that would count as a no goal.
Right.
This is a whole Des Bryant football move, kind of looking at the rules, which is why it took so long. Like, I don't think we've ever seen a play like this before. And on top of that, it was a game defining play on top of that. So I understand why it took so long. It shouldn't have taken that long, but that is why, and that's the explanation that Pete DeBoer actually shed some light on in the post game presser. So I was just like, oh, okay, I understand according to the rule why it wasn't called that, but honestly, I still don't think that should have been called a goal. In my personal opinion, if that part of the rule doesn't exist.
Well, that just brings up all the definitions. I mean, which is the main problem with this anyway. Like, what's a distinct kicking motion? There's no exact answer to that question. What's playing the puck in the goalie situation? Because, I mean, Hellebuck's not trying to play the puck into his own net. So it's
exactly.
That's just where stuff isn't clear. So that's one thing that I think is pretty stupid. My point is that Petrovic, just like Lehkonen was in game 1 of last series, is not trying to kick the puck into the net. He's trying to kick the puck to his stick and shoot it. And
which is why it was called a good goal.
Behind the goal line. So, like, if intent to kick it in the net is part of this, which it kind of is in the rule, which is another thing. Like, you can read the rule where it's intended or not intended. It's the rule is just not very clear at all, and there's no definitions on any of it. It is just, it's really weird. But my main point is, if the Lehkonen goal is a goal and it's not a kick, I don't see how you could have called this one a kick. But it turns out they actually did, and they thought it was a kick, and that
they were right. It was
his own net. So I don't know. That's where I just think that the consistency in officiating is just all over the place with the NHL. I'm glad they got the call right the way I saw it, but they didn't call it the way I saw it exactly. But the end result was the same, so of course I was still happy.
Yeah, that is the weird thing about all of this, is that because that's what I thought they were originally like looking at it for was
right. I thought it was motion. Just is it a kick or is it not?
Yeah, that's what I thought, and that wasn't the case at all. It was obviously a kick. They called it a kick on the ice.
I didn't think it was a kick.
I thought it was a kick. I really did. And then so the whole idea was, okay, well, did Hellebuck make a play on the puck or did he not make a play on the puck?
Well, if it is a kick, I don't see how that's playing the puck. So we're kind of on either. We're ships passing in the night on this one. But
yes, yeah.
Either way, it was a weird play and a weird call and a really stupid long review. Review should not be that long. If it's taking over 5 minutes, it should stand.
But the biggest thing about all of that is how the Stars responded after the review. Like, that is when they went all in. Because honestly, Chris, at the beginning of the third period, I was a little bit worried. Not because Winnipeg was getting a whole bunch of chances and stuff like that, but a majority of the time was being spent in the Stars zone. And the Stars weren't really controlling the puck like they could have. And I wanted to see a little bit more. And that's what I put on my game notes. But again, that is the big thing, is how you respond after a review. And yes, it was in the Stars' favor, but the Stars could have faltered back and been like, "Oh, we're good. We're gonna lean back on this 1-goal lead." They didn't do that.
One more thing before we get to Bichsel and Petro. Matthew DeFrank's $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Matthew. You're a beautiful, beautiful man. It says, at this point in the playoffs last year, the Stars were 3-3 at home. This year, they're 4-1. And big reason for that has got to be the home crowd. I mean, the Otters' better chants were absolutely great there tonight. You got to respond to the U.S. backup chants from Winnipeg. The Stars did exactly that. They called back to Eddie in 99. It was perfect. I loved the arena tonight, despite it being 3:30 on Mother's Day. What a stupid start time. But great job, Stars fans.
Yeah, the way they were able to intertwine Stars history with the current situation against the Jets, mashed it together, was fantastic. And the way they were able to do that, Stars fans are just so smart. Like that was mwah, chef's kiss, perfect.
And were they chanting USA at the end of the game too?
They were. There were some people that were and there were also some people that were chanting hire Miko and fire Nico at the same time. So it was quite interesting hearing some of those chants go on.
Okay, back to Petro and Bichsel, because I mean, they had an amazing game. I think they probably had a playoff high about 14 minutes time on ice each. Liam Bichsel finishes the night with 13 hits by himself. That ties a franchise record, both regular season and playoffs. And the guy who last said it was Brendan Morrow. And he did that with only 14 minutes time on ice. I mean, Bichsel with the big, big boom tonight.
And a lot of the focus was on Petrovic from both of those two guys, obviously because he gets the goal. But the other thing that a lot of media members were talking about, and he was just being completely surrounded by everybody, was just his journey getting back to the NHL, or maybe even the lack of people keeping him out of the NHL, because he has been a very key part of that leadership group down in the AHL. And you have to have guys like that. I mean,
he had a bobblehead for the AHL team this year.
Exactly. And that, again, that's why guys like Curtis McKenzie, who is, I think he's 35, 36 now. That's why he is so key down there in the AHL. And that's why you see guys like Maverick Bork and Logan Stankoven. And
well, that's one of the reasons why you're seeing Bichsel right now, is him and Petro are on a pair together. I mean, there's a lot of leading and teaching going on in that situation. So those two guys, like you mentioned, Petro and Curtis McKenzie, they're part of Stars development.
And that leads you to think, why was he still down in the AHL and not up here with the Dallas Stars?
I'm going to stay on this. I'm not trying to disrespect Alex Petrovic. Trust me. These games he's playing right now is better than anything I saw from him in the AHL. He's playing his best hockey in these past few weeks since he's been with the Dallas Stars, which is perfect. I mean, he's stepping up at the right time. But you weren't seeing this game in and game out with Texas. He's found another level.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's weird because it's not like he's in the prime of his career. He's on the back half of his career. He's 33 now. So he's kind of a journeyman. He's been around the AHL mostly the last 5 to 6 years. And he's playing very, very well in a key role that the Stars have had issues with the last several years. And he kind of did it a little bit last year because, Nils Lundqvist wasn't really fulfilling his role there. And Petrovic came in and took on more minutes, but still wasn't a factor.
Right. He was under 8 minutes a game.
he is right now being a factor in the game, and not
goal. Duh.
Yes, and not necessarily just on the score sheet like he was tonight, but it's been consistently where he's maybe had 1 or 2 off games, but he's been consistently very, very good for the Stars team.
Another fun little note: Petro played for the San Antonio Rampage earlier in his career. one of his teammates on the rampage was Miko Rantanen, who assisted on the game-winning goal for Alex Petrovic. So that
That
is a
is cool.
pretty weird full circle Texas comeback there. Really cool for Petro to get that, and fully deserved. I mean, that bottom pair has just been, I mean, especially when you compare to last year, it's such a blessing for this team to have two guys that they can rely on and that make such a big impact, especially physically, because the rest of the Stars lineup doesn't really do a lot of that. But when those two are on the ice, the Jets have got to keep their head on a swivel because they know that the boom can come at any moment.
Another random
All right.
fact for another random fact for you, real quick, Chris. Connor Hellebuck was the starting goalie of the NAHL Odessa Jackalopes back in the day before he was who he is now. So that's ridiculous. I can't believe that he played in Odessa, Texas. That's nuts. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Special teams is once again outstanding for the Stars. They only get 2 power plays tonight, which seemed absolutely ridiculous. It looked like they should have had a lot more, but they still get it done when they get the opportunities. And then the PK is just incredible. Tonight might have been the best PK the Stars have shown, like, for a full 60 minutes. The Jets could barely set up. I mean, they were stopped at the blue line over and over again. It was absolutely textbook from the Dallas Stars PK.
And who do they say has to be your best PK person?
It's Otter.
No, it's Esa Lindell.
Oh.
I set you up there. Sorry. But yes, that's where I was kind of going with that. I put this in my notes during the second period, and I just keep going back to the fact that it is absolutely incredible to watch all of the other players, get a line change, go off the ice, and Esa Lindell just stays out there. And it doesn't phase him at all. And it doesn't matter if he's 10 seconds into his PK shift or a minute and 59 seconds into his PK shift. He makes plays in the right way. And it's, again, with the Stars down their best D-man, it's huge.
And the big thing I thought that made the PK so much better tonight was that their forwards were able to keep moving and stay aggressive when the Jets were entering the zone. I think last game, the Jets were doing a good job of getting their feet frozen before they entered the zone with those drop passes or those east-west passes. Tonight, the Stars forwards kept their feet moving the whole time and were able to get on people quickly and force them to make really tight plays, and they weren't able to. And that's how they got so many clears without even being allowed to enter the zone. So really great job by the Stars special teams. Once again, they've been fantastic all playoffs long.
I also want to jump on the power play as well, though, Chris, because, yes, I would argue that they got 2 power play goals here tonight, because the Harley goal with Wyatt Johnson on his butt, it makes the pass out to the slot. And, I mean, I would call that a power play goal as well, because there was a delayed call on that play.
The Stars didn't really use the 6-on-5, though. I don't even know if Otter got to the bench before that goal went in.
I'd have to look back and see. But, again, they utilize the... I don't know what you would call it, the situation to their advantage.
Yep, they did. They took advantage of that, and that was just an amazing play by Granlund there. I mean, I'm glad you kind of brought that up. He goes down and he just stays with the puck, gets it to the front. Awesome. And a bad whiff by Helly. That was probably the worst goal Helly's allowed in that game. He just whiffed with that glove hand.
Well, it also wasn't exactly his fault, and I actually had a very good vantage point of this. And I think I even typed this in my notes. I thought that he would be really pissed off after that goal because, yes, he probably whiffed on it, but he was screened by 2 of his own players on that play. Go back and watch it. He didn't have full vantage point of what he should have said what he should have seen. So that's just what I saw on that particular play as well.
Yep. And then you mentioned it kind of off the top, but the middle 2 lines kind of mixed back together. We saw Mush, Duchesne, and Sagan back together, and that one looked loads better. Really looked dangerous. It might have been Duchesne's best game of the playoffs. What'd you think of those lines kind of going back where we think they should be?
It was better. It was better, and it's okay for it to be better with a win,
right?
Like today, because the top line was ridiculous, Chris. I'm telling you, they were just at another level that all the other 3 lines were just not at. And that's not to say that the other 3 lines were bad. It was just the top line was the top line. And it was just ridiculous watching watching them take over. But specifically for me, and I don't know why this stuck out to me because maybe we've talked about it on the podcast, but Pete DeBoer actually mentioned that Jamie Benn, he acknowledged that he knew Jamie Benn was getting some criticism. And I thought Jamie responded in a good way here today. There was one particular shift where he completely took over a puck in the corner, and it was a cross zone, back up to the top of the circle shot for CC. It was a huge opportunity for CC. I thought CC probably should have put that away. But Ben still has not had his moment where he's come out. And I don't know if we will see it or if, it's just lurking in the shadows right now and it's waiting to come out at the right time. But in order for this team to get to the next level, Ben has got to be a bigger factor. And he was a big factor today, especially physically. It was great to see his play today. But I really feel like in order for this team to fully get over the hump, 14 has got to be one of the better players on the ice.
Yeah, he was definitely better today. He finished with the with the assist today. I can't remember which goal it's on. I'm trying to find it real quick. It's on Wyatt's goal at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Of course, that one is the one I forgot. But yeah, he definitely looked a lot better. He still is low with the time on ice for the Stars. He's third lowest amongst forward with 12:43, but he has a lot more shifts. He has 21 shifts with that low amount of time on ice. And I'm wondering, maybe he's like he knows that he's not playing up to snuff right now. Maybe he's taking shorter shifts on purpose to kind of keep the energy up. So that's a possibility. But it does just worry me. I mean, it's reminding me so much and really painfully of what we saw with Pavelski last postseason. And I mean, that he's not on the top line, so I think it's not holding back quite as much as when Pabs was up there, but it can't happen. I mean, I agree. He's got to find a way to break through. And in the first 3, maybe even 4 games of the Colorado series, I thought great. Ben was really good. He's driving energy, making big hits, and being a factor. And this game is the start of getting back into that, but it still needs to be more. You're right. He's got to be a factor, I feel like.
And he needs to find that way to be more effective. And if he's taking shorter shifts and he's going to be a fourth line, quote unquote guy,
that's
playing bottom three minutes, according to forwards, then he needs to go more full out on those shifts and really wear himself out and I don't know, maybe he just leans into the physical side of the game more. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion, that he has got to be a bigger factor for this team in order for this team to get over the hump. I think that Miko Rantanen is doing exactly and even more than what he needs to be doing right now.
Definitely more.
Duchesne has got to step up. Marchment's got to step up. Robo will get there.
I would say all those middle 6 guys, they got to be better, I feel like.
Yep. You got anything else?
No, I was going to ask you if you had anything else before we do biggest winner, biggest loser.
We do need to talk about one particular thing, and we need to talk about Marchment, because I completely missed it at the end of the second period. But Marchment, I'm not sure what happened, but I think he got slashed or hacked.
He got hit in the head.
He got hit in the head, okay, or whatever. And there was no call, and he was extremely frustrated on the play, and he took a little love tap to the ref's shin pad. And that right there is complete bullcrap from Marchment. He is extremely, extremely lucky that he didn't get called for a penalty on that particular play. And again, that could have been a deciding factor in the game if that penalty had been called. That should have been a penalty called against Marchment. And I would almost expect that he gets some sort of supplemental discipline that we hear tomorrow. I would not. No. It might not happen, but it would not surprise me if we see something from the NHL on that.
Goalies are getting elbowed in the head and there's no penalties even called. So if that's going to be a suspension, then that would be crazy. I think you're overstating it a good bit. I mean, it was the lightest little anything tap that I've ever seen. And refs are all up in players' business all the time. Nathan MacKinnon was screaming in the official's face for a solid 2 minutes, telling them to call a high sticking call, and then they went and did it. So I think we're being a little too babyish with what officials deal with. So I don't see that as big a problem. He shouldn't do it. You're right. He shouldn't do it, but it's not that big of an issue.
But the problem is, Chris, is that he's making physical contact with the referee. And I know that seems really stupid silly for people who are not in sports worlds, but like if you do that in the NFL, it's an immediate flag.
It's a different
If
league.
you do that in the NBA, you get a technical and you get thrown out. In soccer or in football, whatever, you get red carded.
Yes, the point is taken. It's a different league. You're on ice skates. You bump into each other all the time. People bump into refs all the time. It's not an abnormal thing in the NHL. So okay, I get your point when it comes to other leagues, but hockey is different.
Okay, well, I'll leave it at that. But if he gets suspended, I will be fairly upset. Would I be surprised if he gets fined? No, I would not be surprised if he gets fined.
I would be shocked by either of those things. Okay, biggest winner, biggest loser.
I talked about him off the top, so I got to give it to Jake Oettinger. He continues to be the best player for the Dallas Stars in the playoffs, and I know that Miko Rantanen's getting all of the love right now. But
deservedly.
And deservedly so, absolutely. He is doing 230% of what he's being asked to. But Jake Oettinger is the one that is backstopping. He's the foundation of this team right now, and he is going up against some of the absolute biggest names in the NHL and shutting them down. I mean, whether it's Kyle Connor, whether it's Josh Morrissey, or even Cale Makar, Nathan MacKinnon. So he's just absolutely showing up the best players in the world right now.
The real biggest winner is Miko Rantanen. Goal, assist, 3-point night, 6 points in the series so far, and the Stars got shut out in a game already through 3. He is just absolutely dominant, and guess what, Jets? He only was on the ice for 17:27 tonight. That was a light night of Miko Rantanen, and he scored 3 points on you. Get rocked. Biggest loser.
That's an interesting one.
I got it. It's Connor Hellebuck. He got scored on 5 times. The only positive that he got is he didn't get pulled, and he probably should have been pulled again on the road. So 4 straight road games where Helly has not looked like Helly.
He's given up 4 or more goals in the 4 road games that he has played in this postseason. I don't know what the difference is with this guy. Like, or it can't just be the team, right? At this point, it's too much of a coincidence for this to be happening.
And you've seen the goals that were let in. I mean, last season we looked and saw those goals look kind of weak, and then he gave that big press conference afterwards, and they were saying, "Oh, it was the best team I ever saw offensive wise." And then he did it in the Blue series, and we're just like, no, actually, he's pretty bad right now in the playoffs. So he is definitely not playing like himself, even though he studies more than any other person on the planet.
I knew you were going to go with that.
So yeah, Helly has just not been good.
Yeah, it's one of those weird natural phenomenons that it's not just a storyline this year. It's continued for years. It's going to be for
the rest of his career now at this point. This is 3 straight series.
Until he wins the Stanley Cup, this is going to continue being the storyline with Connor Hellebuck. I mean, and it's not with Jake Oettinger, because Jake Oettinger shows up in the biggest games, and he's been the better goalie in the series so far.
He's coming for that starting job in the Olympics. So, all right, that'll do it for us, guys. Thanks again to our main sponsor, DraftKings. Use that promo code THPN over there to get some free goodies. They got a new Pick 6 option. You can do that in Texas. Check that out. Head over to StarcastRemarks.com. Over there, you can join the Who Cares Club. Help us move things along here at the podcast. You can check out our store. We got little t-shirts with our awesome logo on it. Those are sweet. Wear those under the jerseys. You can join our Discord in the link. That's been rolling all playoffs. It goes off all the time. Please like, subscribe, share this video, give us a 5-star review. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and we have taken some big jumps. So thank you guys so much for that, and just keep it coming. Next pod is going to be Tuesday, and we have a prime time game in the American Airlines Center. It is going to be awesome. Any final thoughts from you, Ryan?
His name is Miko, not Moose.
His name is Miko. All right. For Chris, which is me, and Ryan, Otter's better. GG.